You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again?
Canelo Crawford coming up September. What do you think about that fight?
Canelo Crawford, good fight. Good fight. Canelo has advantage because Crawford moving up, but my advice to Crawford is like maintain the speed, improve the speed, and improve the strength.
Mike Tyson opened up after a training session with Terence Crawford, dropping some wisdom about the mental game ahead of the Canelo Showdown. He said that in a fight this massive, the pressure is a given. Every fighter feels it, but the real fight isn't in the ring, it's in your head. Tyson's advice was simple but powerful. If Terence can keep his mind calm and not let the moment swallow him, he won't just win, he'll make it look easy. It's all about mental control. Master that, and the hands will follow.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody thinks pressure's like getting on, staying on. Pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
it's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl, I see everything.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towel? Because I'm sweating like a pit with one hole up here.
You sweat.
We will get you one.
You sweat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
Amir Khan knows a thing or two about stepping into the ring with Canelo Alvarez. He's been there. So when he weighs in on a potential mega fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford, it's worth listening. Khan gives Canelo his respect, calling him a great fighter with experience that's practically unmatched. But he's quick to point out what plenty are overlooking. Crawford isn't just moving up in weight. He's carrying serious power with him. Khan believes we're seeing a stronger, more dangerous version of Crawford than ever before. That's why, in his view, this is far from a one-sided matchup. Instead, it's a true clash of extraordinary talents, two elite fighters, each capable of ending the fight in an instant. Khan admires Canelo's proven dominance as a bigger man, but he also warns not to sleep on Crawford's adaptability. Crawford has made a career of adjusting, evolving, and conquering new challenges. And that, Khan suggests, is exactly what makes this fight so compelling and so hard to call.
Can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot.
We're not catching and shoot.
Make me think.
We're not catching and shoot.
We're catching it, resetting, and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner. And I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, "Sean, tell me what's wrong." I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, "Your legs kind of tight." He looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It was a habit, probably.
He said, "All right, we're not gonna use our legs so much this round." And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah. So to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
lost the round.
Whatever. Hello.
I ain't know where around is. Chill out.
He don't even know where around is. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast. The week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff, and hey, I turned out to be right? As said on the Porter Way podcast, I didn't turn out to just be a paranoid conspiracy theorist on this one.
Analysts are highlighting real concerns about Terence Crawford's age and size as he looks toward a potential super fight with Canelo. By the time this matchup happens, Crawford will be 38, an age where reflexes and recovery naturally decline. While he moved up to 154 pounds to face Madrimov, that lone fight hasn't convinced skeptics he can handle Canelo's seasoned strength and pressure at higher weights. They acknowledge Crawford's elite skill and IQ remain intact, but question whether his body can keep up. This isn't just another fight. It's the ultimate test of his career, challenging not only his technique, but his durability, adaptability, and will.
Being successful, September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Madrimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Madrimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Madrimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion, Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Everyone in Crawford's camp is saying the same thing. They've learned from Canelo's last fight. They watched what Jermell Charlo did wrong, and more importantly, what he couldn't do right. Crawford himself has pointed out, pretty frankly, I'm not Charlo. He believes his own style, smarter, more adaptable, and way more disciplined, gives him a real shot. So what's the plan? It isn't about standing in front of Canelo and trying to out-tough him. That's a losing game. Instead, they're focusing on making him uncomfortable, using footwork, sharp counters, and controlling the pace. The idea is to beat Canelo with brains, not just brawn. And behind the scenes, they're putting in the work. The sparring partners are bigger, stronger, and built to mimic Canelo's pressure. The conditioning is brutal. It's all about being ready for that moment, ready to do what no one else at this weight has been able to do.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermell Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's technically
You can't ignore the risks when a boxer like Terence Crawford moves up in weight. Sure, the extra muscle might add power, but what happens to the speed and agility that made him special? That's the big question hanging over Crawford right now. Recently, photos have been circulating online showing him looking noticeably bigger. And while it's true that camera angles and lighting can be deceiving, the concern is real. At this stage in his career, carrying more mass could slow him down. Will he still have that lightning-fast reflexes? Can he maintain his endurance and flexibility with the added bulk? Analysts aren't just nitpicking. They've seen this story before. It's a delicate balance. Power might win rounds, but speed and stamina win championships. And against someone like Canelo, every fraction of a second matters.
Man is simply human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're gonna be slower. Now that doesn't mean that he's gonna be that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Crawford with him looking absolutely massive, but I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course Terence Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Cormier mused, hinting at an even higher ceiling for spectacle. But here's the saving grace. Their resumes haven't dipped. Crawford's flawless 41-0 record, 31 KOs, and titles across 4 weight classes, plus Canelo's dominance at 168 pounds and beyond, prove they're far from over the hill. Cormier zeroes in on the stakes. Crawford's audacious leap from 154 pounds to Canelo's kingdom at 168 pounds. While Canelo's recent fights hovered near 175 pounds, like the Bivol bouts. Cormier argues the Mexican's comfort at super middleweight might offset Bud's size disadvantage. His verdict? They're not done. They're phenomenal fighters in their prime. It's not just a super fight. It's a clash of 2 eras colliding just before the clock runs out.
We are going to be saved in this regard. They're just as good as they've always been. Crawford is 41-0, 31 KOs. Going up to 154, going to fight Canelo at 154. He's won world titles at lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, and super welterweight. So he's been a champion everywhere. But Bud's going to make Canelo fight at 54. I don't know that Canelo's been fighting at 54 for a while. Remember all those Bivol fights were up at like 175 for Canelo Alvarez. They're 2 of the best boxers in the world. They're not... Oh, sorry. They're going to fight at 168. Yes. Canelo's been fighting up at like 175. Crawford going up from 154 to fight him at 168. They're not over the hill at all. These are phenomenal fighters. They're both still in their prime.
Dimitri Bivol acknowledges Terence Crawford's exceptional talent, although he focuses on Canelo Alvarez's mental toughness as the decisive element. Bivol, who outboxed Canelo in 2022, emphasizes in his Ring magazine interview that Crawford's success depends on more than simply adjusting to Canelo's strength. Bivol says when you're not mentally prepared, fear weakens your body, explaining how even top fighters can become melted under the spotlight due to unfamiliar pressure. Crawford would be moving up a weight class or 2, but Bivol thinks his mindset could make the difference. If he isn't intimidated by Canelo's demeanor and physique, he will take the blows and fight. It's a subtle analysis. While Bivol doesn't discount Crawford's chances, he emphasizes that whether or not the smaller man's talent is translated to the ring will depend on his confidence.
But Crawford is, I mean, he's one of the best fighters in the world, isn't he? I mean, obviously you rate him very highly.
Yeah, you know, with it's not about only getting used to the power, and it's also about be mentally ready. Because when people are not prepared them mentally, they like afraid or scared, you become weak. Your body become weak. You know, when you when something happened and it's something new and you wasn't ready for this. We all know these feelings, like the body become melting, like just soft, you know. And mentality is very important also for this fight. Even his one weight class or 2 weight class lower, if he's mentally ready, he will be ready to get these punches and be okay with this. He could be good.
Jim Lampley kicks off the discussion by asking Joe Rogan if Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez. Rogan acknowledges Crawford's potential but tempers expectations. Yeah, I think he can win, but he's going to have to box a brilliant fight.
Do you think Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I think he can win.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he can win.
So
but
he's
going to have to box a brilliant fight.
Lampley then shares a fascinating analogy from boxing legend Larry Merchant, who compares Crawford's challenge to Sugar Ray Leonard's iconic win over Marvin Hagler. Merchant's point? Crawford must emulate Leonard's strategy. Get in, get out, figure the angles, to frustrate Canelo and avoid damage. This historical parallel underscores Crawford's need for tactical perfection, blending precision with evasion to offset Canelo's physical advantages.
Okay, what kind of a fight? I'm going to get to that. I asked the great Larry Merchant, 94 years old, living on Ocean Boulevard in Santa Monica, looking out at the ocean, reflecting on all the amazing things he did. And I asked Larry, I said, do you think Terence Crawford has a chance to beat Canelo Alvarez? And Larry said, Jim, did Ray Leonard get an official decision victory over Marvelous Marvin Hagler? And I said, yes, he did. He said, well, if Ray Leonard could beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler, then Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez. And I said, why do you say that? He said, same equation. Get in, get out. Get in, get out. Yeah. Over and over and over. He's got to figure the angles and the approaches that will allow him to step in, land to the body, or occasionally upstairs, and then get out.
Yeah.
Before he's facing any damage.
Right.
That's what Ray did so effectively against Hagler. And it frustrated Hagler. And the more you frustrate the opponent, the better off you are.
Yeah. This potential super fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez has sparked fierce debate across the boxing world. Legends, analysts, and fellow fighters can't seem to agree. Will Crawford's speed, IQ, and adaptability overcome Canelo's power, size, and experience? Or will the Mexican superstar's physical advantages prove too much, even for a technician as brilliant as Bud? One thing's for sure, if this fight gets made, it'll be a true clash of eras, styles, and legacies. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the outcome could redefine both men's places in history. Whether you side with Crawford's precision or Canelo's brute force, this matchup promises fireworks. Will we witness an all-time great upset or another dominant chapter in Canelo's reign? Only time and the ring will tell. But one thing's certain, boxing fans deserve this super fight. While both warriors are still at their peak, let's hope the promoters make it happen before it's too late. The countdown begins.